that Mutant machine is kicking out way more volume than anything, like grinding that just a tiny bit. Which is only fact that's how I've got stuff set or what. Well, yeah, I'll walk you through the patch and then interrupt with any questions or any of that. Luckily, with this happy ending kit screwed into a, well, not unscrewed in, just into it. Luckily, working in a school where the technology department were happy to just make a wooden case I could dunk it without closing. But it's meant I can tuck cables out of the way, which is not great for you following cables for patches, but good that they're out of the way.
Yeah, just handy, aren't they?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not really using everything to its full potential. I wanted to keep Pamela's workout, the Octocontroller and grids in. You could take any one of those free to start system, but they all work together, so I thought I'd keep those in. Going left to right in the mixer, the main mixer is the hot glue. Didn't use it that much, but really impressed with the compression in that actually. And as a mixer, it's pretty big, but it's a nice, really solid mixer. I've got kick, channel 1. That's the Mutant kick from Hex Inverter. A couple of patterns going in the switch, just playing by hand. Could fill that up.
So what's going into the switch?
Yeah, I was going to say that.
So a couple of patterns there.
From grids or something, is it?
One's from Pamela's workout.
So you've got straight kind of.
And then the second is, I've got on the Octocontroller there's sample and hold gates that will lock to a loop.
Oh yeah.
So if I turn that off,
So random gates kind of thing.
it should just be an indefinite random loop. If I give it something, say hi to play against, as soon as you hear a pattern you like hit option, kick should then loop. Decide you don't like it, take it off again.
So you find that
Infinitely.
switch handy, like for just manual kind of.
Yeah, but only for one. I guess that's the restriction of it all being in one module, that only for one thing.
Right.
Because there's only one.
No, I mean there's.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, the sequential switch. Yeah, it's just big enough, and with a button that I can play it.
It really marries well with that, being able to do that kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's got a random mode as well, so if you are clocking it, you don't just get it cycling down the steps, you bounce it all
That's
over.
really good.
Yeah, because that's the only thing with the dope for one that I've got.
Yeah.
It kind of literally
It does, doesn't it?
that a lot.
I've got the same one, it's just
that.
The reason I'm using grids in this now is just to change the timing of the beats.
Well, there's a couple, I'll sort of walk through it. So kick is coming in that switch, and I've got two patterns. I'll really quickly glaze over and we can focus on some bits. I've then got hi-hats on channel 2, which is grids going into branches, which is a virtual coin toss. It's got an A and a B, and so I'm letting branches decide whether that triggers the open hi-hat or the closed hi-hat. All the way left, it's always going to be closed, 100% probability it will definitely be the output. Same to the right, so in the middle, that's making the decision on that. Really, it essentially doubles your trigger outputs.
Yes.
I've got one rhythm, which is that LED, plus branches deciding what's happening. The Mutant hi-hats, I mean, it's made for the hot glue, it's got 2 ins for the hi-hats. So that's just making its decision. I've also got the clap on grids, which is in a little, sub-mixer in there. And I find that really handy performance-wise, because it's just
It's all being clocked by the October.
all been clocked from Pamela, which is clocking the Octocontroller, which is clocking grids, so they're working sort of down and to the right. And they've all got a reset as well. I'm patching a reset in and splitting that reset. Well, I would be if it was connected, but it was connected to nothing. It should have been resetted, but it kept in time. So I clapped from that as well. Hi-hats from that. Surprised how, well, I don't know why it wouldn't be, but you hear stuff not working all the time. It's really tightly synced. I'm quite impressed with it. Kick, hi-hat. Then got the Mutant machine, that's got to be careful with that because it blows your head off. It's a bit of a percussion powerhouse, the amount of stuff it can do. We'll have a little look at that in a bit. That's just going straight in. Got sends on the mixer. That's what that noise is actually. A bit of hiss. It's the Flame Effect 6, which they're dirt cheap. They're at 60 quid or something like that. They're not, but just making
It's noisy.
I mean, it does the job. The reverb's quite nice. It's just a little bit noisy, but it's a really cheap chip in there.
Yeah.
Then got little percussion submix, clap coming from grid. dinkies on top, which has got modulation from, that's all from the October controller, so it's just sample and hold modulation.
Looped or?
Loops, yeah, they're all loops. They're flick through, you can see the option coming on and off. It's never a case of, well, I was playing around, oh, that's interesting, hit option and let it catch something. And that's for pitch.
Din keys can do virtually anything, can't it? From like drums to kind of synth sounds to like...
Yeah. It was out of the case yesterday for the video. Just kick, tom, pats, snares, claps. Not just mad. Just modulating and not doing its thing. It's just...
It's a great module.
Yeah. Just, they're all attenuators, just to second minute. Modulate it. Oh, it's going through the delay as well from Synth, which, dirty little thing, but
That'd be great.
just the job. Just about got it in time with that rate knob, I think. You can sort of knock it to the point it just catches.
Yeah.
It's just fantastic. With mine, it's just
Chip's
an explosion.
Chip's gonna die in it.
Yeah,
It's
it
gonna
does,
set on
yeah.
fire like that. We really like that sound, just and then it eventually goes. You can trim that one to stop it doing that. I love that.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna die. Sort of sound.
There's that new WMB one that I've got a few of, but I don't know whether it does all that kind of really...
It's
I
the
just
same
like a
chip,
little
isn't
bit
it?
more
It's the
leeway
same
before
chip.
it fits in.
Yeah, I think they've kind of tamed it a little bit, so it doesn't...
Yeah.
Well, I do like all that conscious stuff, though, it's great. It's my favourite
Yeah,
bit.
I love that. If I could trim it to have more of that,
Yeah, exactly.
I'd have more of it.
Yeah, I'd have that halfway around the dial, to be honest.
Yeah, just a good half knob turn. of
It's
that.
not that amazing, it's just a standard delay, it's like that
Well,
bit,
it's just-
pretty cool.
It's really short in it, so you
Yeah,
don't get.
it's not like a sort of ring reverb.
Yeah.
No, it's just, it's a... Yeah.
PT or
Yeah, it was made for cheap karaoke machines.
Yeah.
Is that the one they use in their
Cheap.
multi-delay as
They
well?
use it in
The
cheap
one
delay
everything
pedals
is
like
in-
all over the shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's guitar pedal chip.
Yes, it's that cheap. In every, it was designed specifically for karaoke machines. That's hijacked by.
Yeah. Although I've never heard that karaoke.
You haven't heard me sing?
Pedals and that, it doesn't do any of that.
No, it's scaled to a range where it doesn't, and it doesn't, as it comes by default, below 3 o'clock on the knob turn, you don't get any of it. And then the last thing, I completely stripped all the samples out of the music thing, radio music, just to put a snare sample in, which is generic snare sample. You can turn all the looping and stuff. It usually works like banks of radio stations that loop, and the idea is you can CV between all these stations, and there's loads of default stuff in there that's classical music, Indian stuff, Spanish talk radio, there's all sorts of stuff. But it's stripped to just being that snare, and the trigger just resets it. So really simple.
So what is it? Sorry, explain it again.
So it's got an SD card,
Yeah.
just micro
It's
SD,
samples.
and it normally works as a virtual radio station but of samples. But they're long, there's like 8 gigs worth of samples.
How do you mean a virtual radio? What's
So
it?
it's got a station knob that's like tuning through the station. See what I mean?
Oh, right.
So like,
Do you know when the sample's going to come up?
yeah,
Yes and no, because you've got 001, 002, 003, and you record them in RAW. It has to be a very specific format, RAW only. And then basically throw a CV at it and it just picks a random.
Addresses it.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
address it
Chooses
linearly or
and
jump around.
also chooses position within.
Oh, right.
That's right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And you can get
and the samples loop indefinitely as well.
As
So
long as you
you,
get them right, yeah.
yes, if you're skipping past this talk radio and then come back to 2 minutes later, you get that sample 2 minutes later.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
As well. Because if you get really long stuff, you don't ever hear them loop because they're that long. Or like I can turn looping off and just, it's just one snare drum, but you can put hundreds of stuff. I could have just put banks of 50 odd
You
snares
can
in there.
modulate it with the start as well, can't you? So you don't hear
Yeah,
that. You
so
can always
that
get.
start
So if the
position-
start gets a random
Yeah.
CV, that it'll just position its start point at
Yeah.
any point in the sample.
So I mean, this sample's really short, but you can hear it there. Like right at the start's that hard transient, which is all just in the sample that I'm in the computer. But then, like you would in a sample, you can just round it off until
That's handy.
just that little bit of noise.
Available
in the
from
sample.
Folk. It's very live.
Got links to
It's
somewhere. But it's nice with stuff like that. I was going to put loads and loads, I was going to put, well not loads, maybe like 20 snare drums in it and just have my own little 483 snare thing, but even just with one, to be able to just round that start off, it's obviously quite a harsh sound, but just like with the rest of it just seems to blend in that bit nicer than it's smacking your face off a bit. And that as a quick rundown, I guess about it. Patterns for the dinkies are going from on these little cables. These are a godsend for a small system. I wish I had around another 20, 30.
I had to go and get more of them when I was patching it.
Small cables. I did that to start with. I got loads of long cables, and actually the smaller ones are what I need more of. Dinkies, rhythm is coming from Boss Ball Tie again. You could see the addressing of those steps, but I'm just using the offset for me to turn.
Alright, so you're using it as a manual switch almost, right?
Yeah, same way as I'm doing that. I could CV it, but it seemed easy for me just to have.
Is that MadLab Mute 4 as well, which I've just got in, which a lot of people use for kind of jamming with? It's got 4 channels and stuff.
That's really interesting.
It's like a boring module when you look at it at first, but when you think how useful it would be.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's 3 HP though.
Yeah, well, but I mean,
just have to buy 2.
Well, I mean, it was
Buy
partly
2.
because they used to have things like Harvestman and that, which were like odd-numbered HPs, but now that they've actually got a reasonable range of 3 HP stuff, it's not such an issue because you just get a couple of them
Just
and
buy
then it
the
adds
3
to
HP
6.
Oh, I actually was going to do. I need to buy a sample and holder actually, rather than just using disting as that. And I think the noise is that not a sample and holder?
There's which one? The
Malaco.
No, that's like several phases of noise and then a
white
low.
and pink noise and a clock digital noise. So you get a little bit like what Dinkies is doing here. Actually, you get the different colours of noise.
No.
So
It's more like pitch noise. The one you might be thinking of is the Eon. Or the Nano Rand. Both of them do kind of clocked sampling old and random.
I mean, that Nano Rand is really thin, is that? Really
the Eon's the one that's 2 HP.
That's 2 HP. The Nano's 4. Same as the disting. I've got disting instead of that, just because it's got that.
Yeah, I mean they're both similar multifunctional kind of things, which sort of have some shared functionality, but. Yeah.
They're really useful having like a peaks and a disting, or a couple of distings. Like I've got peaks. One's in tap LFO mode, which is taking the same sequence as the Dinkies, which is this still. So that's this black cable, whatever's coming out of this switch.
You got peaks in there?
Yeah, it's triggering.
Still not playing.
In fact, I wondered that. I didn't. I said I did the video for that and we'll plug it back in.
It's probably one of the only things in my system that I use in pretty much every patch. Peaks and disting.
I need to have a play with it. So I nearly brought it with me, but I thought I just don't know it well enough to. And I wanted to use the alternate modes, like there's a load of like random gates or stuff.
In peaks.
Yeah, there's some other.
There's a trigger probability thing that can randomise.
That's it, yeah.
Whether
and then there's the secret mode is the most ridiculous thing ever. That's like the number station.
See, the number station's good fun, but the radio music has just killed any idea of using that number station because it's just so small. It's packed full of so much stuff by default. Like I said, 8 gigs worth of stuff, and they're all these raw mono files that aren't actually that big. It's just packed full of stuff.
That sounds kind of similar to that. I was saying about the Vladic sample player, which is kind of like that, in that it's a sample player, but you trigger it, and it triggers each sample, and then it's got 2 knobs, each with an input on it, so you can put an LFO in that, and it randomly triggers the speed and the sample of it.
I think that quality-wise is running it quite a bit better.
Yeah, I think it doesn't sound.
Not that it's a massive deal, running 12-bit stuff or like that. But I think that's a bit better. But yeah, the Ladic's got CV, hasn't it?
It does.
Sample and start.
Sample and the speed of it, so the slow down of it, which is it's interesting, but it doesn't, like I say, it doesn't sound great.
Well, I think the thing with I don't know about the Ladic, but with that being able to write your own samples as a text file on the SD card, and you just change the numbers to do something. So it says loop 1. If it's 1 like a binary 1 and 0 on and off, it loops. If you just change that text file to say 0, it won't loop anything on the thing. So it's really easy to just go.
Yeah, that's jumpers.
You can
on
also
the
make
Vladic
starting
ones.
Is
link
it?
points as well.
Yeah, because I was triggering the snare, and because it's so short, it's like if you loop an audio file in a DAW by accident, and just going absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking it is triggering in time, but I didn't realise the loop thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, peaks is a step, sample and hold in time with whatever sequence this is playing, the dink is. And the second one's an LFO, which is running scanning speed on the Mutant machine, which is, turn that on. It will, I didn't really get why it was there in a drum module, to be honest. So I thought it was weird, because you've got these two.
It's almost a synth as well, isn't it? Like, it's a bit like
Yeah,
DivKid.
it's pretty, yeah. Because you've got this basic drum voice. You can pick the wave. There's then a second one. You can tune them together. Yeah, there's a global tune, but then there's a difference between the two as well. So you can,
Very like the red run in tone quality.
yeah, it is a bit.
It's a nice sound, it's a really nice tone.
Yeah, and then you've got pitch
Oh,
envelope.
you do anything, can't you? I quite like the sound of it,
CV over everything.
Oh yeah, I thought that. But I had so much grief with it anyway.
But then, yeah, the weird bit, and I never really got why it's there, it'll actually scan through its waves as well. So you get a bit of a
Alright.
longer
Oh yeah.
scanning.
Is that on a trigger? Or just
Yeah, you can
sort
clock
of
it.
LFO?
You can clock it, so I could clock it at the same rate as this and have it step in really
So that's
nicely.
like the parasites and sheeps stuff and then
Yeah.
mutable stuff, I guess. So you can trigger the swapping through.
Yeah, and you can enable on that switch whether they're on or off, whether one will cycle and the other will. But it goes right up into audio rate, so you've got. Just make it longer.
Metallic.
Yeah, and then have a CV in, which is that LFO from Peak, so you
Which
get
do you prefer, that or Dinkies?
Dinkies because I've had it for months.
Yeah.
That's been in for like 4 days, and it was the last thing to put in the thing. I don't feel like I know it enough.
No.
I
It's
think,
got potential, is it?
yeah, I'd say this one more powerful. You've instantly got a little transient click thing, which is really useful for mixing in with the drums. You've got the noise, which is more comprehensive than Dinkies because you can CV the pitch of it. Again, that like clock noise, decay. So you've got everything's out separate. So you've got waveform out, noise out, and a mixed out. CV over everything. You clock in, clock out for this scanning frequency.
Yeah.
You can take these waveforms out and actually CV those. You can CV the pitch of the waves.
It's the one that attracts me most out of their range.
Yeah.
So if you're going to put like a portable system together, if you were thinking of doing it like the Dinky, just size-wise, fits
You
with
could do an
everything.
awesome percussion
Yeah.
thing with like that Basilus, what's his name?
Psoriasis, yeah.
And then Dinkies and that. Like,
Dinkies and a Basilus. There's also the Neuron from Audio.
yeah, that's what that could do more like kicks and stuff.
You're not into that?
Drum drop.
Oh,
Trigger
yeah.
from
Well,
the-
yeah, do everything. The Mutant drums, I will say, because I've had the hats. Paul actually built me the hats, but I didn't want an 808 or 909 sound, but they kick through a mix like anything else. It's like you mix them in with stuff, and it really does hit harder than some samples I've got. I mean, you can compress and EQ and whatever in the computer, which I'm used to doing, but they really kick through something.
What was the kick you used on the video that you put up
Of this,
the other day? Yeah.
that the Mutant
The
kick.
Mutant.
I mean,
It's quite punchy, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we're losing a bit of bottom end because I'm
Yeah, these speakers aren't particularly.
like as a
I
lot.
like how it had the sort of slightly distorted kick, sort of trebly sounding kick, and then came in with the opposite.
The sound in here is a bit weird. It's a bit sort of low midi, boomy kind
Yeah,
of.
you
So
can
you're
hear
not
about
getting
there, it
like
starts the tail kicks in a bit.
you're not getting a true representation.
Yeah, the tone on that's the thing that just really kicks. So if you really
Yeah,
want
that's
it,
good. That.
and I'm not a hand clipping, am I?
A little bit.
Just knock it down a bit. You still get that hard click, even when you're not.
Right.
If you really want that smack, but
Is that one that I've never really seen many of the Mutant ones? Is that just one voice out, presumably?
you've got. I have to go for it. So you got your trigger in. They've all got an accent in as well. I wasn't using any accents.
All right.
You've got CV over decay,
Yeah.
which will ring or
It
go.
sounded like you were using an
2 that started at the start of the bar. So rather than the snare being on the 2 and 4 on the 1 and 3, I realised I uploaded the video and thought, dickhead.
No, I actually quite
I'm
liked
going
it.
to do it again.
I really like that. That was the bit I thought was quite cool about it.
But you get, with a kick you do get a distortion which can come out of instead of the normal one. Or you can route stuff. Yeah, and you can route the things into the distortion without any. You know, you could distort your bass line through that and still take your clean kick out. It gets a little bit. There's fairly good range on it from just a little bit of drive to.
It's quite hard to get good sort of bass distortion.
Yeah,
it'll
to all out gamma.
Yeah.
It will go bonkers if you wanted to, but just a little bit. You can, especially in here where if I come out of the clean again, you can hear where that bottom end rolls off. So around there, like we're losing that length.
Yeah.
But if you get it in some drive and just add a bit of harmonics, you can sort of try and bring it back a little bit to catch
Yeah,
it.
you're not getting the really low bass on these.
No, but
At all.
it sort of does the trick. Yeah, branches, like I said, deciding on, really like branches. What setting this up's actually made me want is a couple more of some of the modules, another branches and another octa
Is that
controller. Well, just branches, I mean, it's a bit of a shameless plug, but if you go watch the DivKid video on that I did, you can get it sounding like you're frying bacon if you put white noise in.
Oh yeah, I remember that trick.
And get it in like a resonating filler, because it's deciding on which side it's moving. You get this weird, like grainy, chopped up noise, and it's almost like a frying pan going, which is kind of
It's
cool.
such a simple little
But
module though, isn't it? It's not on a lot of
That
people's
coin
radar.
toss thing, I just like that.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Like
I
the
like.
hi-hats, just let that decide. Just
Yeah,
Quite
yeah, it's
often
gonna,
though in a patch, it's just there's one bit you need to make it sound a little bit more interesting.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
And you've
just
got
like
it there,
that.
haven't you? Yeah.
Even if it's a really quick gate between the
Yeah.
two, it just sort of gives it a little
But that's
bit
it.
of
It's just
variation.
like I say, it's not on a lot of people's radars.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.